Hello fellow bugs, welcome to Purple Titk and a series about lessons learned in the journey of my project car Miata, specifically what to and not to do. This series starts with me having no knowledge of cars or working on them, to eventually building race engines, custom wiring harnesses, doing engine swaps, and even doing a rebuild title process on this car and others. For more details on what I have done and learned since, smash that bell, subscribe, eat some grass, like, and comment. Let me know what you would like to see more of. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Last episode, Purple Titk went from not knowing about cars to doing initial restoration. In this episode, Purple Titk continues restoration and starts modifications and engine work.
Welcome back, fellow bugs. I left last episode off with the seats and the restoration process beginning for them. And I'm going to start off this episode, which will be episode 2, with the continuation of the seats and leading up to more of the restoration and more of the modification. And I placed an order on a seat cover kit from Sierra Auto Tops, right? And I took the seats apart. They were all rusty. The foam was okay. It was good. So step 1 was kind of removing all the rust, and you can see just how bad it was. So I did that all with a Dremel, the wire brush again. I just got rid of absolutely everything. I painted it all black, rust protection, everything. And then I started putting the new covers on with zip ties, and eventually I did it. And I actually had to add extra foam throughout to make it so it doesn't look baggy as normally these seat covers do if you don't do a proper job. Plus, another problem is that this is the 1996 Miata, so the seats are different from the earlier NA6 models that have a different type of cushion on the seat. So for these to work, I actually had to put a bunch of my own foam and figure it out. So I went to Walmart and I bought some foam and I stuffed the seats with it, but overall they came out looking really good, and this is what they looked like when they were in the car. So it would have made a huge difference that they matched the interior perfectly. I did have rust around the windshield corners of the frame, and I went ahead, wire wheeled it off, put some silicone, and then painted it. Here's a quick picture of after it's all cleaned up and I was happy with it and I was driving it around. I did put the halo lights here, so I put some halo lights in a GV bumper kit, but it was looking really clean, really original. And then this is where I started going down the riser path. So I installed a white NRG, it's probably fake, I got it on eBay, steering wheel. And the car at the time had, I think, 135,000 miles or so. And I replaced that shift knob that I had earlier with a white one to match the steering wheel. And funny story is, before I got this steering wheel, I bought the same one on eBay, but it was a glow-in-the-dark one, and I just didn't like how the color was a little bit off when in the pictures it matched the car, so I eventually just returned it and got this one. And that was all in the span of like a week. Yeah, so the next upgrade I did was kind of going in, and I really got this the kit, I think on eBay, of the tinted panels, or not panels, the tinted lights for the markers, and as well as the turn signal indicators. So I got those all around, and they made the car look a lot better. And then eventually I wanted to fix the dented in trunk because I didn't like how it looked. So I went ahead and bought this trunk off of a Miata that was being parted out, and it was in pretty bad condition. Like, it was good, but it was it had paint everywhere for some reason. And then I went ahead and from the same car I also bought this door, because remember, like I said earlier, the mirror holes were rusted off, and these are from an earlier NA6, so they do have slightly different things, plus they were in power window, power mirror, but eventually I modded it to work, so I'll show some of that. Yeah, and also these were painted before, so they had some clear coat and some shiny paint, which made it a hassle to kind of work with. And here's another picture of kind of what it looked like. And then took the NB wheels that came with it, and I went ahead and painted them black. So this was my first really performance upgrade. I went ahead and I saw on, I think, Facebook, someone selling BC racing coilovers, and I met this guy, and since then we've also exchanged some stuff and part of the community and everything. But that's really one of the first parts. Another one of the first parts I bought from someone else in the community. I got the BC Racing coilovers for the Miata, and then I started working on the trunk that I bought. I sanded it all down, you can see, and then applied primer, and it was just pretty dented in, but it wasn't as creased as the other one. So eventually I got it to work, and then I painted it in my garage. So another thing is I did buy this, I forgot the name of the brand, but it's a matching paint, exactly paint match to the color, which for my Miata it's PT white, and I'll say that it's just really bad. Like, that paint is really bad. It doesn't come out even. It barely comes out of the can. It comes out spotty. It comes out a very matte finish, so it definitely needs clear coat. So I did that, and I wasn't too happy with how it looked. The color matched. The color matched great. But then for the door, I figured, you know what? Before I do it, let me do a coat of just white Rust-Oleum or something, just to give it some gloss, so I don't use as much as the paint, and it doesn't. Because I was running low on the can, and the can didn't really work that well. So I sanded the door down and didn't need that much work. And then, surprisingly enough, this is what it looked like after one coat of just white Rust-Oleum, stops rust version. And that's kind of what I die by making by painting. It does a really good job, especially with vehicles. Yeah, so I painted all around. It came out good. And then I went ahead and I really wanted to get more into fixing up the engine and doing all that. So I was looking, and I saw on OfferUp that someone had put this 01 VVT engine, and I started doing research, and I figured out, oh, this Miata engine, like, it can definitely be swapped into it, you know. And at this time, I was also kind of just had notifications on. Anytime something with the name Miata popped up, I would go look at it. So when I saw this for $100, I went on instantly, and I drove 30-40 minutes, and I went and picked up this VVT engine. You know, I took a risk on it, not knowing anything about the engines and stuff and the condition, but it looked good. I brought a torque wrench, and a regular wrench, and I was able to rotate the crank, so it all seemed fine. And then I was willing to take it apart, because the whole point of this whole project is just to kind of learn about cars and Miatas in general, and kind of advance my knowledge on that. So not knowing much, I started taking it apart, kind of clean it up, see what I got, see what's wrong. Because at this point, I'm pretty much mentally committed to doing the VVT swap, which is implementing this 2005 Miata engine inside of my 1996 Miata. And I will just say, I will just not recommend anyone does this. It's a lot of work, and you kind of take the fun. I mean, you bring fun because you learn and performance to your vehicle, but you kind of take the fun out of just having the car more reliable. Like, it makes it so you have to worry about the tunes and worry about all this, and I would not recommend modifying your car to this extent. So here it is. I started taking it apart. First time really working on an engine. And then I had to go the spoiler route. So I went on eBay and I got the cheapest $60 GT wing standard, the ones you see on Mustangs. And I installed it, and I was pretty happy with how it looked. Yeah, that was pretty much the main rice or element. And then I tinted the headlights pink. And here's what it looked like at night one day. I think it looked pretty well with the spoiler and the top down and from the rear. I also had cleaned up the badges as well and repainted them, and I have a custom plate for it. Let me see, I think there's another picture here. Yeah, here's one from the side. And then I took that VVT valve cover, knowing that I already did it previously for my engine, and I started cleaning it up. So first I took it and I cut the front of the valve cover off. I did valve cover, gear cover trim thing, and I taped off all the ports so I didn't get any aluminum dust or anything in there, or scrape the surfaces up as I sanded. And then I went ahead and I painted it, and this is what it looked like after I painted it. It looked really, really good. So the head, I had actually taken it to here it is. Here's the head, and what I did is I laid it out on the table. I was worried about not scratching the surface or anything. And this should do it for this episode, guys. Next one should be coming out shortly. Stay tuned.
To recap, Purple Titk continues restoration and starts modifications and engine work. Next episode, we will continue the modification journey and dive into engine work.